I'm Shelly, and welcome back to Scorch TV. Take it away, Scorch.
Well, here we are again, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, and those of you that aren't quite sure, you're okay with us too.
Yeah.
This is another episode of Scorch TV, the rock and roll talk show. You know what? Spring will be here before you know it.
Sure will. Yeah.
And I'm hoping we got a lot of good things planned for the springtime.
What do you mean on our show?
On this show here.
Oh.
Well, I'm not saying our show because by the springtime,
It'll be just your show.
It
again.
could very well just be your show at that point. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, I don't have an ironclad contract either, man.
I understand.
You know. They can easily change that to, Zito TV. We did it once before.
Yeah, I know. That was a good-looking logo.
So what else is going on, man? How's life? Your comedy thing. Let's talk about that, man.
Yeah.
We never talk about that.
What, about my comedy career?
Yeah, let's talk about what's up with the Chris Zito Comedy Sandbox.
The Chris Zito Comedy Sandbox. It's every Thursday. Dick's Beantown Comedy Vault. Yeah, in Boston, right on Boylston Street. That's a great show. I have a blast doing that show. Yep. That's a show where it's probably the most unpredictable comedy showcase in New England because I'm there every week. And so, you know, for comedians, you either have to write new jokes or go to a new place. So if you're in the same place every week, I really don't do any material. I go and I just talk to the crowd and I bring up the other comedians. So it's a blast. It's a very loosey-goosey, you know.
One of the main reasons, I mean, I would love to be with somebody. I'd love to settle down with a nice woman. If you're watching out there, I'm a nice boy. Settle down with me.
He really is.
I really
don't
am a
believe
nice
everything
boy.
you see here. He looks scary, but
I'm
he's
a nice boy.
Yeah.
But one of the good things about being single is if I would have to up and move because somebody offered me a lot of money for another job,
well,
I would probably be able to do that.
What are you trying to say?
No, what I'm asking you is, let's just say,
Yeah.
because you've got your family situated here.
I do.
Is your family ready to up and move? Or would you be willing to, at this point in your career,
Yeah,
somebody offers you $100,000, $200,000 a night?
That was a little stronger, the second figure, yeah. That was right. We're getting somewhere.
Oh, who's the...
You can tell it's a single guy thinking, would you up and move for $100,000? Well, you must be single.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you know that old saying in radio, if the money's right, the flight's tonight, you know? So it still applies, man. But no, my wife has always said, you know, if you get the right show, especially if it's a warm climate.
Yeah.
Even though I married a girl from New Hampshire, she loves the beach, so... Yeah. If we could go somewhere warm, absolutely. Yeah.
A warm climate.
A warm climate.
It's very effeminate of you.
So if you're watching this on myscorchtv.com and you have a good gig in the Sun Belt, give me a call.
Don't you owe your agent already a lot of money?
I really do. I'm in deep. Yeah, I hope he said, yeah. And then somebody said he was going to be a guest on the show. I think he arranged that just so he could hit me up.
We'll make sure that you're not here that day.
Yeah, maybe I'll skip that week. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We got a busy show today, including Sheldon Goldberg from New England Championship Wrestling, pro wrestling, not that fake collegiate stuff.
No.
We're talking professional wrestling. He's a historian. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes.
Fantastic.
But let's get things going with our segment that we call Weird News.
Some are odd and some deranged, stories that are very strange. Weird news.
For starters today, a 43-year-old Port Orchard, Washington man apparently stole a woman's handbag from the local bus terminal.
Oh, that's not good.
You got popped with that once, didn't you? Did you get busted for doing that?
I have never been caught snatching a purse. Dude.
Okay, but you...
Okay. Let me tell you, because I got the wheels. You want to be a purse snatcher? You got to have the wheels.
You get that vapor trail going...
Gone.
All you see is your talent coming behind you, falling.
I got the Acme jet skates, you know?
This guy apparently would have gotten away with it except for a couple of things.
Those pesky kids?
He likes to wear his pants down below his tuchus.
He does? Oh, he's one of those saggy pants guys?
He likes to wear one of those saggy pants down, and he didn't expect them to go down quite as far as they did.
Oh, no.
Because when he was running away, his pants fell down and he tripped to the ground.
Nice.
Yep. The other thing that kept him from getting away with it was that it was all part of a sting. And he stole the purse of an undercover cop.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
he's now in jail till his $20,000 bail. $250,000 bail is raised.
Another criminal genius.
Is there any smart criminals out there, you think? Or are there any smart
We don't read about them on Weird News because they haven't been caught. They only make the news when they're really caught, you know?
Oh, that's true.
The smart ones you don't hear about.
A British man named Ralph Zito has been accused of...
This is a new tradition on the show now.
There's going to be a weird news story about a family member every time.
I appreciate that, yeah.
Okay, excuse me. A British man named Ralph Scorcherson is accused of trying to get his wife good and fat so nobody would want to be with her.
Oh, my God.
And she would stay home with the kids. it may have worked, except for one thing. The man admitted he was putting steroids in her food, which would have landed him in jail.
Yeah.
It would have, except as he was being let out by the cops, he was attacked and killed by his wife.
She killed him?
She went on a roid rage and killed his wife.
That's what he didn't realize. All those steroids got her all upset.
Yep, imagine that. And that, my friends, is today's installment of Weird News. Remember, you can always go at myscorchtv.com. You can upload your own weird news stories and compare them to other people's weird news. You can make comments. You can make posts. You can tell us it's good, bad, or otherwise. That's why it's interactive. That's why it is social television. myscorchtv.com. On the way, we have got our guest today from New England Championship Wrestling.
Can't wait.
I'm going to tell him what you said about him because I'm going to kick your ass. It is Sheldon Goldberg coming up as we continue with more Scorch TV.
You want more Scorch TV? Of course you do. There's more after the break.
Get ready. There's a lot to love about driving a Subaru Legacy, like the confidence to handle anything New England weather brings with its road-gripping, symmetrical all-wheel drive, the peace of mind you get when you're driving a top safety pick, and knowing you made a smart investment with the highest predicted resale value in its class. There's a lot to love about the Subaru Legacy at only $19,995.
Here comes Timmy. Be careful on that ladder, Timmy. Don't reach too far. An accident has occurred. Here comes Ronnie. Better check on your friend, Ronnie. That's right, Ronnie. You know what to do. Has Tunagar done its job? Yes! Success! It has kept the guitar in tune.
It just takes a second. Guitar safety, and you've brought to you by the Guitar Safety Institute.
Before 5-year-old Sarah ever takes her first shot, Special Olympics is working to add years to her life. In the past, people with intellectual disabilities have had a shorter life expectancy, but through sports and Special Olympics health initiatives, the world has changed for Sarah and countless others. Special Olympics programs in part will help her live a long, vibrant, and healthy life. And you thought it was just a game.
We're back with more of your rock and roll talk show, Scorch TV.
Welcome back to Scorch TV, the rock and roll talk show. Rock and roll and wrestling kind of blends in nicely, you know what I mean?
I agree.
There has been such things as rock and wrestling things, you know. Our first guest today is a very unique individual who's been a major fixture in the field of professional wrestling, and he is a professional wrestling historian. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. It's our pal Sheldon Goldberg. Sheldon,
Yay.
Good to see you.
Sheldon from New England Championship Wrestling.
Wow.
Let's talk about that. How was it to go from nothing to making your own wrestling federation?
Well, it's kind of a long story, and I don't think we have enough show time to get into all of it. But I'll give you the quick and the quick and condensed version.
Okay.
Let's say. I was, before I got involved in pro wrestling, I was involved in professional theater. I was a producer. I did publicity for Broadway shows, shows on tour, things of that nature. And I was always a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. And there was a guy who used to promote wrestling in Boston by the name of Abe Ford. I used to see Abe all the time, you know,
Right.
and a big wrestling fan, so on and so forth. So I got to know Abe a little bit and so forth. And gradually, slowly but surely, I made some contacts within that industry. And the two things that I
Start to
was
horn
doing,
in and squeeze him out.
well, no. He actually retired.
died.
He retired to get out of the business and so
So
forth.
he didn't horn in and try to squeeze him out. He actually killed
No.
him.
You had him knocked off.
He had him killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
But
been
that's
implicated.
my pal Sheldon. We
There
do
you
that.
go.
Nice
Sure, absolutely.
You can. It was on A&E, right?
Right.
It was called The History of Pro Wrestling.
The Unreal Story of
Unreal Story of
Professional
Pro
Wrestling,
Wrestling. Narrated by Steve Allen. You were a big to do in that. What was that like?
That
How
was
did that happen?
really, it was interesting because they found me, at one point in time I was doing a newsletter for collectors of professional wrestling memorabilia, which was a hobby of mine long before I got involved in theater or anything. So they found me through that, and one of the producers and I had a mutual friend. And they came to me and they said, gee, we're doing a 2-hour show on the history of pro wrestling. I said, how are you going to fit the history of anything into 2 hours? I mean, you can't do it. And I said, well, we know. And I asked them a few questions about what they wanted to do and what their approach to it was. And I was actually pretty impressed that they didn't want to treat it as a joke. They wanted to treat it with a level of respect and a level of seriousness. And I said, that would be something really cool to see on TV. So I helped those guys. I helped them find where the old footage was. I helped them find where the old timers were and so forth. And then they came to Boston and said, we're going to shoot some stuff with the late Killer Kowalski. Of course, he was still alive when they shot it. It would have been that boring if he had actually kept up for something. But anyway, so they came out here and they said, we want to do some stuff with you too. And I said, you sure you want to do that? And they said, yeah, we want to, you can help tie some of this stuff together. You know so much about this. So forth. So through no plan or there I was. Now all of a sudden I'm a wrestling historian.
I see. Yeah, because that was the graphic they used.
Right. So what
Sheldon
should we call
Goldberg.
you?
Yeah. Wrestling historian. So boom, that's your title, pal.
Exactly. So I didn't even make that up. They just, we'll just call you wrestling historian. All this historical stuff.
You don't have to be a big stalker type of guy anymore to be in wrestling. You have light heavyweights now. What advice would you give people?
Well, you have to find a reputable trainer. That's number one. And you have to have a thirst for knowledge about the business and its history. And, it's like anything else. If you don't know where something has been, you can't take it to where it needs to go. So I think anyone who wants to be a pro wrestler needs to immerse themselves in the product. So definitely have a lot of product knowledge, a lot of knowledge of history. I don't say you have to be, I don't say you have to know everything since Jacob wrestled the Archangel, but you gotta know something about what it's all about.
Well, then doesn't it take a deep, like an earnest willingness to bounce your head off a turnbuckle? Wouldn't that be like
absolutely
to the whole process?
A deep passion for
the turnbuckle.
For the turnbuckle, for getting your kidneys jostled around on a liberal basis.
Zito did that a few weeks ago with Billy Day and the lacrosse guys. We may actually have you jumping on the top of a cage in a few weeks.
I have to think about that.
Okay, we'll do that. What do you got for us to show? You brought some video footage in.
I did. Brought some recent clips from some of the guys that you'll see in New England Championship Wrestling. Right now, I think we have one of the best crews that we've ever had in the history of the company. We've got a lot of guys that are going to be national and international stars for years to come. Names like the Butcher John Poe, Sean Burke, the infamous Bobby Fish, of course, Alexis Nevaeh, our women's champion, and it's just a tremendous crew of dedicated young athletes and great young people who are going to really make some noise.
Okay, let's check out Sheldon Goldberg and New England Championship Wrestling right here now, live on Scorch TV.
If you want to see more Scorch, Zito, or me, go to myscorchtv.com or just stay right here for more Scorch TV.